Good morning, and thank you for joining Resilient You. We have guests on our show each week that talk about ways to become more resilient. And this week, I want to take time to, first of all, thank all my listeners who have been with me these last, 17 weeks or so. I've had many successful shows and wonderful opportunities to raise the issues that we're all facing. Today's show actually is going to be something that's going to help you in your own days ahead. We talk about resilience, we talk about mindfulness, and today I hope to provide you with solutions for modern day stress. When we have work, we have home life, we have friends, family, there's a lot of demands placed on us. And depending on the phase of life we're in, depending on our age, our abilities, there's a couple things that we can all do to help. And, even when you feel you might be overwhelmed or you even feel you've done all you can, I want to tell you there's some good news. With a few simple steps and healthy habits, you can really do a lot to improve your well-being. So resilience, we know, is how you bounce back, right? How you have the going through things, negative things, and it could be large or small, and it could impact us in large or small ways. But when we build that resilience, we can actually come back stronger than where we were when we went into that situation. So if you haven't yet picked up the book Emotional Strength Explained, I really suggest you get it. If you need a copy, reach out. I'll send you one for free. It's really a good way to improve your life and your situation, even if it's a small thing, such as a small change you want to make, and it just has to do with yourself, or if it has to do with someone else, and maybe it's a bigger thing, a bigger problem, a bigger stress, a bigger weight on your shoulders. You're not alone in this world, and people have been through it, and I really would love to have my solution be the thing that helps you in your journey. So let me go back. So we know that resilience is something we want to have. We want to be emotional resilient, and we can practice positive thinking. We can agree to make small choices to take better care of ourselves. We can find support, and it all starts with one thing: being more mindful, more intentional about realizing what are we thinking, what are we feeling, and your body can give you clues. Are you stiff? Are you sore? Do you feel more tired? Do you not have as much energy as you did? There's things that you can do. You might have people in your life to encourage you to do different things that are healthier, such as drink more water, eat better, exercise. Today, my nice mail carrier mentioned yoga and how it helps him. So I'm not the type to settle down and be still. And so I think if I can just open myself up to give something like that a try, maybe I will. And it was just a little tip that happened to come my way. But so thank you to my mail carrier. And remember, people, your world is only as small or as big as you make it, right? So get out in your community and see what is out there for you. Anyway, so when you pay attention to what is going on, instead of just rushing through your day or your moment or your event, your experience with others, slow down. Pay attention to what you see, what you hear, what you feel, and then take a look at where your mind is going. One of the things that I know you might be aware of or not is that mental health is health. And I really want to share that again. Mental health is health. The way you think is really going to make a big difference in how you stay mentally healthy. 1 in 5 American adults will have a diagnosable mental health condition any year of their life. 50% of Americans will meet the criteria for a diagnosable mental health condition sometime in their life. And half of those people will develop the conditions by the age 14. So think about those numbers, right? 1 in 5 people. 50% of people will have a mental health condition of some sort. And then of those people who have a mental health condition, it can happen by the age of 14. So these things, can happen. You say, why me? Why am I feeling more depressed than another person? Why is that person more outgoing? Well, a lot of things go into it. There's genes, there's biology, patterns of cell communication. There's things that are beyond what we think about every day. Your environment. So have you been exposed to traumatic events, sudden losses, maybe violence, abuse, neglect? Have you lived in a low socioeconomical area? All of those things are environmentally things that could affect you. I think I have all of those. Anyway, that's just a side note. I also think lifestyle has another role too, because if you have a poor diet, fast food, if you're not eating vegetables, if you're not being conscious about the food pyramid and eating balanced meals, that can affect you. Substance use or abuse, lack of exercise, irregular sleep patterns. All these things can contribute. If people have symptoms of a mental health condition, they shouldn't be ignored or brushed aside. If you have other health conditions, if you have a bad back, you can't just ignore it and hope it'll go away. If you injure yourself, you have to get the right treatment for that. And the same goes for mental health. Again, if you have people in your life and you notice they're having trouble sleeping, they are having trouble focusing, change in appetite, if they're isolating themselves, not doing the same kind of activities or social interaction as they had before, or if they're irritable, if they have a short temper, these are all symptoms and warning signs that they might have something going on that can be improved. When there's several stages of mental health conditions, if they're just having mild symptoms and warning signs that come and go, if they increase in frequency and severity, then maybe that is a level 2. Level 3 is where the symptoms worsen and the episodes are accompanied with serious disruption in life. So not only are they irritable, but they're tired, and not only are they irritable and tired, but they don't want to go to school or work. These are all things that can point to a mental health issue. Stage 4 is when they're severe and it can jeopardize one's life. So depression is something that's very common, and it ranges from a mild case all the way to a severe case where people even want to take their own lives. And we've seen it happen in today's news. And, it's something that is becoming increasingly more aware. And it's good, right? We're teaching our young people, and we're getting people aware that you don't have to feel the pain alone. You can reach out to others. So be there for people who need it. Another thing is, mental health conditions, if you wait until stage 4, it's much more expensive. It's much more dangerous. There's a lot of things that are needed, right? So if you feel bad and you notice you're not feeling better, If it's not due to, a certain scenario that doesn't change after the scenario changes, then, if you wait until you're depressed and not going to work and you lose your job, or maybe you're just maintaining, but everybody around you is walking on eggshells, there's so many impacts to this. And I would just hate to see you or your loved ones, get to that stage. So again, how do you talk about it? Talking about it is the first step. And when you're talking about mental health, it's something that if you're the one feeling the feelings, it could be too overwhelming and too intimidating to open up to someone. If you're not ready for that, you could try my book, obviously, Emotional Strength Explained, which is a journal. There's prompts in there to help walk you through it, and lead you to support and healthy people in your life. But if that's not for you, then you could try sending a text to someone. You could text them and say, I have important things that I need time to talk to you about. And then it sets the stage so that you can have that time and get that, important time to explain what you're going through. You can write it down, you can type it up, print it and bring it with you. It might make it easier if you read, or if you give it to them to read. When you are able to open up and share your feelings and your thoughts, you'll be surprised how much better you start to feel. You'll gain hope. You'll see that there's a better path forward. If you want to use a letter, you can try something like, dear friend, for the past day, week, month, year, I've been feeling, and then fill that gap, fill that blank, right? Like, I've been feeling unlike myself. I've been feeling anxious, moody, lonely, hopeless. I've been feeling overwhelmed, distracted, confused, empty, restless, unable to function or get out of bed. And then if you've struggled with things, you can add that. I've struggled with substance abuse. I've struggled with skipping meals. I've struggled with uncontrollable thoughts or paranoia, maybe guilt, nightmares, certain behaviors that you're not proud of. If you have these things and you can get them out on paper, you can get them out in words to someone, you're really going to be on the right track. And if you're the person who is being talked to about this, listen, let them finish without interrupting. Let them know you understand. That's the first step. Let them know they're not alone. Make sure you understand the topic. Focus on their needs. Try not to make them feel like they're, unusual or, worse. Try not to let them feel like they're crazy. If they are telling you how they feel, don't dismiss it. Don't just feel like, oh, it's normal, you're just having a bad week, or, don't dismiss it. Make sure that they have some support, someone to go to, right? Don't just leave it there, because that happens a lot of times. People will open up, they don't get what they need, and then it quickly can spiral out of control. Don't take their information and go talk to someone else. Don't gossip about it. And if you don't understand or don't have a real good idea of what they're going through, it's something that you should do some research about. You can find things online. There's people who can help. There's groups. And lastly, ask them if they have thoughts of hurting themselves or others. Ask them if they've been hearing voices or seeing things. Ask if they have any other symptoms that shouldn't be ignored, and then you will talk to someone. You can text 988 if you are in crisis. That's 988. If anyone is in crisis or needs help or guidance, you can text 988. You can also text MHA to 741-741. And if they are wanting to hurt themselves or others, you can go to the emergency room or call 911. If it's an adult over, 55, you can call for an, a behavior check. Most counties have those resources. You can call, and that's all you have to say is that you want to have a behavior check. And if that person is in need of additional services, they will take care of them. So it really lessens the burden. If you're a child of an aging parent and you notice changes, you're going to feel relieved if you're the one who is able to get them help. And if you're the one in need of help, you're going to feel relieved too. You might feel embarrassed, but again, it's not anything to be embarrassed about. It's just the way we are as humans. You may not get the reaction that you're hoping for. You're not going to know how to make things better, and that's okay. It might take time. This conversation is a first step. It's a first step in the process. So again, if you're a young person and you don't want to tell your parents or your caregivers, you can just have that as part of your plan, right? It's not easy to talk to them sometimes, so just keep in mind that if you have, if you're getting help, you can talk to a social worker, you can talk to a therapist, and they can help you to figure out what's going on and how to take the next step. These things can take time to get better, but don't let that hold you back. Situations can improve through time, and you'll see that by talking to someone or making a change, your feelings will change, and you'll become more confident. So, what have we learned so far? 15 minutes, I've talked about mental health conditions. I've talked about how to approach them using conversation. We talk about some way to prevent them. One of the things that comes to mind is that, if you can think about mental health as health, like you would going to a doctor, it's really going to help, the world. It's going to help because we'll be able to identify these issues early. We'll be able to intervene earlier. If the symptoms are being caused by a mental health condition and they feel ashamed, it's really up to all of us to help them to get back to reclaim their lives. Substance abuse in mental health services are things that may require additional help. So there's a Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. There's a lot of different paths for different things, right? So if you're having substance abuse, you can get a 12-step program. You can start with a sponsor, someone who's been there, because again, it's really beneficial. I know that if you don't get screened early, you're not, there's just such a potential for a path down the wrong road. So 84% of the time between first symptoms start and the first treatment spent not recognizing the symptoms of mental illness. 16% of the time is spent getting help. So if you think of that divide, you should really focus on recognizing symptoms. There's ways to screen. There's free anonymous ways to be screened for mental illness. Again, you can text 988 for that screening. There's a website called mhascreening.org, and you can get immediate results. So that's mhascreening.org. If you're wanting to get screened for mental health symptoms, you can go to mhascreening.org. 60% of people who took that screening scored moderate to severe, and over 60% had never been diagnosed. And, you think about the state that we're in right now of people, having weapons and using them because of the paranoia. That is, I myself was a victim of that. And I know that we really need to start to be aware to help one another, recognize and be open to getting screened. And you know what's the worst thing that can happen? You feel depressed, you feel anxious, and you can't function. Well, there's not shame in that. It's just a common thing that we all go through um, as a period in time. So again, I really am just trying to get the message out in this week's show that, you know, if you've decided to get help, that's a big step. It's an important one, and understand you have options for treatment. When I was facing some mental health symptoms, I didn't want to go on medication, and I thought, you know, if I went on medication, it was a shameful thing. That meant something. There was something wrong with me. But at the end, all the time that I wasted, I really realized I should have taken it sooner. I could have stopped if it didn't work or if it made me feel bad. But again, in my life, I really want to share with you that story that, you know, I was feeling depressed. It was hard for me to do what I normally did, get together with friends. I didn't want to go to work every day. It was something in my young adult life that I never faced. I didn't know what to do with, and I was just waiting for it to go away, right? Sometimes we're tired, and then we begin to feel better again. Well, it didn't go away, and luckily I had the support and structure in my life to get that help, and I really would welcome you all to do that. If you're burdened by your body image, if you're burdened by social expectations of how you should act, how you should behave, what you see on YouTube, on TikTok, Snap, if you're, you know, falling into, you know, an area of expectation that's outside of what you feel is healthy, you know, think about it and think of how you can get treatment to reframe your thinking. There's a lot of support you can get. There's peer counselors that other people such as myself who have been through it, where we can give you advice and guidance because we have experience. They provide hope, education, and advocacy. There's community-based mental health services, which is a team approach, right? So you might have a group therapy, you might have a personal counselor, you might have a case manager, and then you might move on to getting supported education. Again, there's a lot of things that are available. So again, I encourage you to help yourself and others. There's also other ways, right? There's medicine, but there's non-conventional and alternative medicine. So there's other health care, such as taking fish oil, omega-3. People use natural products like that to really help them, help their brain function, and it works. Again, drinking more water, healthier foods and diet. Your self-care can include online and self-managed programs. There's strategies that we've covered on my show. You can listen to my past episodes to hear how others have done that. We've talked about journaling. We've talked about other healthy habits. When you want to make a change, start small. Pick a small achievable goal, such as drinking 1 glass of water every morning before your coffee. Be planful. Try it for 5 to 7 days. And remember, you don't have to be perfect. If you try different things, you may find one thing that works better than another. So try journaling, try keeping track of your food, try writing it down using an app. You can try to get some structure in your life by sleeping the same time every day, ideally before 10 p.m. at night. Wake up on time between 6 and 7 a.m. These things will make a difference and help your body to stay on track. You want to find a group to help you, maybe a chat group online, a peer, as I mentioned. You can also track your progress and then see when it's time to take a break, when it's time to ramp up. Maybe you're doing good and you want to, increase that water intake. Maybe you want to have someone help you to recognize how far you've come, right? Because we all need that pat on the back. You want to reward yourself. It's going to help you build your self-confidence and stay motivated. So again, when you are doing something, start small and just know that you are doing the right thing by making some small steps. Whatever changes you can make are going to be good ones. It's important to take time in our life so that we can keep a balance and keep things on the up and up. I mean, it's easy to want to sit on the couch and, eat pizza and ice cream, or go out and party. Maybe you're in a stage of life where you're just too tired and overwhelmed. So, it's difficult to find time to exercise or to do these things that might be beneficial for you. But anything that you can do can help lessen your symptoms of anxiety and depression. You want to know that you're in control and that you can make good choices to help yourself live a fuller life. So one of the things in my book is that you don't have to just go through it. You can grow through it. And this is going to help you be resilient. If you haven't made a change and you want to talk about it, I'm available. I have experience as a life coach as well, mental health advocate. So we've talked a lot about this today. I hope that you've gotten something out of it. If you need mental health help or guidance, you can text 988 or you can text MHA to 741-741. These are ways that you can get to a better place. There's other, one thing I would like to end with, when you think about resilience and mindfulness, you think about bouncing back, as I mentioned. You think about taking time in your everyday life. But when we think about being intentional, there's something I want to share with you. There's 5 ways that you can savor. So, for example, when it's really bad, when things are just not going your way and you have that kind of a week or you have that kind of a life, things are just not going your way and you want it to be better, savor the resilience. When we are feeling pain, it tells us that we're alive. And in that, you have to try to manage that pain the best you can. We are vulnerable, but we can seek help. And as you seek help, savor how wonderful and strong and brave you are to accept the good and the bad. Savor your own resilience. So when it's every kind of bad and you don't know how to handle things, savor the resilience. Know that you can find a better way. You can bounce back and own that, because you can be proud. When things are good, you can savor the joy. Think about what is happening around you. Take time. Think about what you already have, maybe something you already appreciate, like the sun shining every day. Savor that. Take that time and make it something that you can always return to, even if you have nothing else, or when things are going really well. It's going to help move through your day, and you can even pass that on to others. When things are boring, well, that's a tough one, right? Because we get ourselves into some trouble. We may not make the best choices. We might walk into that kitchen, grab an unhealthy snack. We may go do something. We might spend money, and we might do things that are not the best. What you should do in those times, instead of doing that thing that's going to lead you down an unhealthy choice, you should savor in the word, I guess I'm searching for the word. When things are boring, you should savor the freedom that you have. Maybe you have time for extra thoughts, so be mindful of how you spend those moments. What are you thinking about? Are they positive things? Are they negative things? If you are, thinking about yourself and why you're making that choice, why do I want to go and spend? I don't need to buy another sweater just because it's fall. I want to appreciate the fall. So maybe I go for a walk and take pictures of the fall environment outside. If you want to go down to the bar and have a drink, are you really looking for social interaction? Maybe go for a walk in the park and say hello to people and see if you can meet up with some friends instead. Do something different. So again, be mindful. If you're bored, savor that freedom. So we talked about when things are bad. We've talked about when things are good. We've talked about when you're bored. Here's a big one. When you're alone, loneliness can do a lot of things. And when you're alone, when you are alone for a little while at the right time, it can be really great for yourself. But when it's too much alone time or you feel lonely, you might end up in a deep well of sadness. And to get beyond that, you can try to remember the contentment that you felt when you were alone for just the right amount of time. Remember that whatever alone time you have, be content in that and savor the simplicity and the wonder, right? Because when we're alone, we don't have to deal with other people's feelings or thoughts or emotions, the problems of the world, the issues in our life. And it's important to remember that that is your special space. So when you're alone, remember to savor your special space. When things go out of whack, when things are haywire, things you can't control, you might say, why me? Or you might say, this is, a hassle. I don't want to deal with this. And you might get negative in your thoughts, in your actions. But instead, you could try appreciating the response of, why not me? Maybe you're chosen to deal with it, to help someone else. Maybe you're chosen because you can handle it. So try to savor the laughter in that when things go out of your control. And of course, if you need to take time away, do something that's going to give back to yourself to restore that peace and that balance. You might want to make a list. You may want to take time to journal some gratitude thoughts and remember the value in what it is that you do and you have. So the last one I want to go over is when you're with other people, it's so easy to go through it and focus on ourselves. Instead of doing that, focus on the laughter and the interaction. When you're with others, focus on the experiences and the words they say and the meanings behind them. It's important to be blessed with friends, and if you don't have any, you can get my book. You could try going through that to figure out how to get there. Maybe you need better friends. I've heard that a lot, because we all change and we have our opinions, and the world and the people around us are always changing. So it's important to savor the companionship, the ups and downs. Savor those moments when you connect and you have that laughter with someone. Don't expect it to happen all the time, but just know that you do have that at times, and it's not a reflection on you. It's just a combination of people, and you can still get contentment with that. So I hope that you've had a good time here today with me. I know I have. Here in the Northeast, we're experiencing fall, and the leaves are changing and falling from the trees. I know that the weather is colder, and it's not something that is the best in terms of sunshine and warmth. So we have to find that in other ways. So I invite you to have a warm beverage and have a blanket, and be sure to remember that you are a special spiritual person going through a journey. And I'm happy to have this journey with you. I'm hoping that you have gotten something great from my show today. We have a few upcoming shows on. One is going to be on aging, which is a wonderful topic, and I just want to shout out to Joni Sanchez for recommending that. We also have another show from a wonderful person who is on a great journey. Just keep in mind, every Saturday on Power 98.5 FM, you can hear the show. It's also available on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and from my website, www.aliciapozony.com. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, text 988 if you are in need of help or advice. Just remember, you're not alone. You don't have to just go through it. You can grow through it. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.